Hey, good afternoon. Jeb Smith here, Coldwell Banker Residential Brokerage, Huntington Beach, and today we're talking about foreclosures. Question often comes up in the business talking to different people about what an REO is or what a foreclosure is, and at the end of the day, they're the same thing. So a foreclosure and an REO are exactly the same thing. REO stands for real estate owned. So what happens when a person misses payments on their property? After a certain amount of time, a notice of default is filed, and if that property isn't brought up, if the payments aren't brought current, then the property will foreclose. And what happens is once it forecloses, it will go to the courthouse steps to be sold in the state of California at least. And a lot of times, it can be sold to several different parties, but a lot of times the bank ends up with that property, or the investor that had it initially ends back up with that property, and that's when it becomes an REO. So it's real estate owned by the bank, by an investor, by whomever at that time. So, and the question also comes up is people think that when they look at foreclosures or they see that a foreclosure is happening, that they can get it cheaper than another property because it's a foreclosed property, so they think they can just swoop in there and buy it, and sometimes that's the case, right? So if you go down to the courthouse steps and you have cash and you're able to buy it at the auction, yeah, sometimes you can get a deal on those. But if you're your typical buyer and you're looking to get a loan and not take it from the courthouse steps, but rather buy it once it comes to market, then chances are you're not going to get the deal that you think you are. Banks are smarter, these days than they were, say, 8-9 years ago when they had, a huge influx of foreclosed properties. And at that time, some properties would sell below what the market value was for those properties. But nowadays, typically speaking, REOs sell for current market value in a lot of neighborhoods, as long as the properties don't need a lot of work. And if the properties are distressed and they need a lot of work, a lot of these investors, the banks, are doing the work to those properties before they list them, because they see the value in making the properties as nice as possible to get the most amount of money for them. So, just because you see a foreclosed property out there, an REO, doesn't mean that you're going to get some great deal on the property. In fact, I tell a lot of clients to stay away from them, just for the idea that they're not going in with the thought that they're going to be able to get some huge discount on the property because it's listed as a foreclosure or an REO. So anyway, I hope that's helpful. In our current market, we don't really have a lot of REOs at the moment. They do come on the market. There's a couple every week that come up in our market, but there's not a ton of them. Typically speaking, if you see a big downturn in the market like we did in, between like 2007 and 2009, that's when you start to see more of that, more foreclosures pop up on the market. Right now, with the economy being good, and a lot of the loans that have been structured over the past 10 years, requiring more down payment, verification of income, verification of funds, that sort of thing, people are in a better position to make payments than they were, say, 10 years ago, when a lot of the loans were falsified and people were stating income, etc. So if you have questions about foreclosures, REOs, any real estate related topics, feel free to reach out to me. Again, would love the opportunity to help, and as always, appreciate you taking the time to watch. If you like these type of videos, give me a like, subscribe, and try to do more of them. All right, talk soon. Bye-bye.